The air in the dining room was thick with the usual hum of polite conversation. The family gathered around the long, polished oak table, plates filled with half-eaten food, the warmth of laughter and clinking glasses filling the space. But none of that mattered to me in this moment. I sat across from my wife, Lily, her face lit by the soft glow of the chandelier above. Her eyes seemed to sparkle, but there was something off about the way she kept stealing glances at her mother, seated just beside her. I noticed the slight tension in her posture, the subtle way she adjusted her blouse. And then she leaned in. The whisper barely reached my ears, but I caught the words as clearly as if she had shouted them across the table. He still doesn't know what we planned. My heart skipped a beat. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I tried to pass it off, telling myself that I had misheard. But the look they exchanged, the small, knowing smile between mother and daughter, was impossible to ignore. My mind raced, trying to piece together what they meant. What could they possibly be planning? And why was I the last to know? I forced myself to focus on the meal, trying to ignore the tension that had suddenly engulfed the room. But my eyes kept drifting back to them. Lily and her mother, their whispers now hidden behind the delicate clinking of silverware. What were they planning? And why didn't I have a part in it? Stakes establishment. Lily and I had been married for 3 years. Our relationship had always been solid, built on trust, love, and a shared vision of the future. Or so I thought. But in that moment, I realized how little I truly knew. The small, subtle hints, the ones I had brushed off as nothing, were now weighing heavily on me. It felt like I was standing on the edge of something, and I didn't know if I was about to fall or be pulled under. I glanced at her mother, Jean. Her smile had always been warm, her eyes gentle. But today, there was a coldness behind her gaze, a certain distance that hadn't been there before. It was as if I were a stranger to her. The questions piled up in my mind. What was going on? Why hadn't Lily told me whatever it was they were planning? I had always prided myself on being involved in our decisions, on knowing every detail of our life together. But now, it felt like I was being shut out. Lily's face remained calm, serene even, but I could see the tightness around her eyes. She was hiding something, and it was more than just this whispered conversation. It was in her every action, the way she avoided eye contact, the way her hand subtly clenched around her wine glass. I knew my wife. She wasn't someone who would hide things from me, or at least I thought I knew her. The uncertainty gnawed at me. What could this be? Had I done something wrong? Did she feel like I wasn't listening, not paying attention to her needs? We'd had our share of struggles, small fights over the years, nothing major. But this felt different. And what about Jean? Was she involved in some scheme against me? Her presence had always been comforting, a second mother to me. But today, something in her demeanor told me otherwise. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was the outsider in my own marriage. The dinner carried on, but I could hardly focus on anything else. Every passing minute seemed like an eternity, and I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears. The tension between us was unbearable, and all I could do was watch them exchange looks, subtle but full of meaning. I could feel the walls closing in. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I cleared my throat, tried to steady my nerves. Lily, what's going on? The words spilled out before I could stop them. What's this plan you and your mom have? Lily froze, her fork hovering mid-air, her eyes darting to Jean for a split second before returning to me. Her face flushed, and she opened her mouth, but no words came out. The silence stretched on, thick and suffocating. Jean was the first to speak, her voice tight, defensive. It's not what you think. I felt the blood drain from my face. What does that mean? I asked, my voice barely a whisper now. Lily put her fork down slowly, her fingers trembling slightly. She glanced at Jean again, as though seeking approval. Then, she turned back to me, her expression unreadable. I didn't want to hurt you, she said, her voice breaking just slightly. But I think it's time I told you. We've been planning to sell the house. I blinked, stunned. What? I managed to choke out. Lily nodded, tears welling in her eyes. I thought you'd be okay with it, but I was wrong. I wanted to tell you sooner, but I didn't know how. My world tilted. Escalation continues. It felt like the floor had been ripped from under me. I had been so focused on the whispers, on whatever hidden plan they had, that I hadn't even considered the possibility that it involved something as big as this. "We can't keep the house anymore," Lily continued. "We've been talking about it for months. Mom thinks it's time to move on," and I agreed with her. "We need to start fresh, somewhere smaller." Somewhere smaller? My mind spun. The house was everything to us. It was where we had started our life together, where we planned for the future. But now it felt like it was slipping through my fingers. "How could you not tell me?" I asked, my voice rising. "How could you make such a big decision without me?" Jean's face hardened. "It was time, David. You were too focused on your work, your projects. You didn't see it." I felt betrayed. The tension in the room was unbearable, a weight that pressed down on me from every side. I didn't know what to do, what to say. My entire life was being turned upside down, and I didn't even see it coming. Lily's tears fell freely now, and I could see the pain in her eyes. She wasn't trying to hurt me, but it felt like she had. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't want to keep this from you." But it wasn't just my decision. I was scared of how you'd react. I looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in what felt like forever. I had been so caught up in my own world, in my own worries, that I had missed the signs. The betrayal hurt more than I cared to admit. But in that moment, I realized something. Relationships aren't just about decisions. They're about communication, trust, and shared understanding. I had failed her, and now I was going to have to work harder than ever to fix what we had broken. But it wasn't going to be easy.